Well, hello there, and this is Auntie, and we are here to do our live discussion on Rachel Dolezal's new documentary called Rachel Divide. If this is your first time being here, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And to all of my new subscribers, thank you so much for joining me. And to all of you who've been here with your auntie, thank you. I am hoping that act up today and that we are able to stay live. If we're not, I'm going to try to do it by Google Hangout. But let's just hope that we get to stay live. Look, this story has been absolutely interesting. It has been surrounded by a lot of controversy. It's usually not something that I discuss on my channel because I don't usually talk about things that is subject nature. But I thought that with all the things that are currently going on, it would be a good discussion for us. Today I did a review. Okay, I guess I'm back. I don't know what that's about or why they have a problem with it. And frankly, I don't give a damn. I really don't. You can think what you want to think. Someone made a comment in my comment box saying, Auntie, I wonder why you did not do a review on Prince William and Kate. And that is because I wasn't doing YouTube at the time. I've only been doing YouTube since November of 2016, and they've been married longer than that. So I did not know whether or not she was trying to be funny or trying to, say that I had racial bias towards people or what she was trying to say. But if, that's what you think about me, then that means that you absolutely don't know me, don't know anything about me, and don't care anything about me either. And if that is the case, please don't come back to my channel anymore. Kick rock and kiss my ass at the same time, okay? Because I don't need people that are going to be out on my channel judging me based on the TV shows or anything that I choose to discuss on my channel. If you want to discuss something on your channel, then peace be still. Take your ass over there and do that over there. But on this channel, Auntie is going to discuss those things that she wants to, and I am not going to allow anyone to judge me or prejudge me based on the color of my skin. See, that is the problem right now in our community and in our society, that we judge people based on what we see on the outside and not who they are on the inside. And so if that's how you are, if you are that little minded that you would judge me based on the color of my skin and pretend to know what I think about African American people, white people, Asian people, Spanish people, or any other kind of people, then you know what? I just need you to kick rock and kiss my ass all at the same time. How about you do that on the black hand side of my ass? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead on and get into this review. Okay, so and I was keeping it mild. Okay, I was keeping it right mild. Alrighty, Josie, I hope that you're ready to work. I'm sure Sarah is probably out there somewhere in the background. I think she's entertaining friends that won't be able to have anything to say. So let's go ahead on and get into this. Rachel Dolezal, as we know, was a white woman who believed that she was African American. She lived her life as an African American woman. She taught in a university, Africano studies, and like she wore our braids and all of that kind of stuff. A lot of people suspected that she wasn't who she says she was, but they really could not figure it out. She apparently, I guess, maybe tanned her skin and stuff like that. And, she just basically lived her life as an African American woman. And when it ended up coming out, I don't know why I say ended up. So excuse me every time I say it. When it came out that she was actually a white woman, it took the African American community by storm. Rachel has several quotes where she says, who has the license on blackness, or who has the license on African Americans, who has the right to say that, because you were born a certain race, that you're basically stuck in that race. Why don't you have the opportunity to be transracial, to make a decision about what you're going to be? Well, I'm not here to even say one thing on the one side or the other. All I can say is, if I walk up into a room and I tell someone that I am a Asian woman, I'm going to have some problems. I may end up being in the back of a police car with a straitjacket on. I don't know. I propose or suppose that I would be, but I don't see myself ever passing women. Let me take my glasses off so you can see my ass real good. I don't see myself passing as an Asian woman. And so I do believe that, you can't make a decision about what you're going to be because you are who you are. And I'm not going to get into that. We're going to get in that together. I want to make this as short as possible so that you all can call in, because I really would like to get your views. Don't forget, when you come into the room, to hit that thumbs up button, so that YouTube knows that you are here, and I will too. So anyway, let me read a few things that I saw in this particular um, documentary. So KXLY4 News broke the news of Rachel Dolezal's alleged cover-up. Her brother was in court. Her brother Josh was in court because the sister Esther was accusing him of molestation. And basically, he was indicted on 4 counts of child sexual assault, and Rachel Dolezal was one of the witnesses, or the main witness for this particular case. She indicates, and her sister Esther does indicate, that it was really going to be her testimony that was going to sway the jury or whomever it was, because she too was going to say that her brother had been molesting her. I believe maybe, some of the things that they had. Yes, Josh was her biological brother, Miss Michelle. Um, Her parents had adopted some 4 African American children. And so, Rachel came up in the household with these uh, these siblings, and it's just a hot ass mess. Rachel, as we know, was the president of the NAACP in Spokane, Washington. When the story was broken, she was fired from as a professor of Africana Studies at EWU, and she was fired off of the Police Oversight Committee. Rachel, when we see this documentary starting off, she's putting braids in her hair, and she's making the story is, who is the gatekeeper for blackness? Who can own it? I own it. I own my blackness. I know that I'm African American. I don't pretend to be anything else. I can't pretend to be anything else. The most that I can pretend that I can be is a light skinned black. Maybe if I go and bleach my skin color or something like that, I can throw some wigs on. But at the end of the day, this melanin that is in my skin means that I own this. And I'm not saying that I own the patent or the genetic codes to being black, but I absolutely own blackness, Rachel Dolezal. I own this blackness. And this blackness is beautiful. Okay, girl, girl. Okay. Just like you own what you own your stuff. Okay. So, she's basically, we're introduced to her son Franklin, and she thinks that he needs to be socialized because he's been in the house all summer. He's been in the house all summer because the news broke out, and he really doesn't have a lot of friends, and he doesn't want to be in the limelight because his mother is on trial, by the black community, by the press, and by everybody else, because she alleged that there was some letters that came to the NAACP that were hate letters, and she took it to the police, and the police basically didn't believe her. There are some African Americans who say that they believe that she is lying, that there were other presidents who were in her position and they had darker skin than her, and this had never happened. But there were some other people who said that there is a huge racial divide in Spokane County, that Rachel had been doing a lot to help that community, and that they, very well could believe or do believe that the letters that she had received were indeed threats and valid threats. They're going to pick up her son that she has by guardianship. Izaiah is not her biological son, Franklin is. Izaiah is her brother, and when he turned 16 years old, he decided that he did not want to be with the parents anymore, and she has guardianship over him. And the parents spoke about that. I believe it was on Today's Show that he decided he wanted to live with them, and so did Esther. So there's obviously something that was going on in the family and in the household for these African American children to make a decision to get out the home. There's another brother by the name of Ezra, and Ezra, I guess matured and was old enough to leave. Esther indicates that she left at the age of 18. She didn't feel connected to the parents. She was, the brother was touching her inappropriately. She said that she, basically told the mother, and the mother was like, what, stop lying. Esther also indicates that she was being beat in the house with glue sticks, and that prior to her being there, in the country that she was in, she was being beat with bamboo sticks, and she showed the scars, on her body from these parents. These parents were supposed to be some type of religious group or something like that, and they said that they were physically and mentally abused, and it was combined with religion, and it's just absolutely horrendous, the life that they went through. Izaiah says that children should not have to have a childhood that they have to recover from, and I absolutely agree with that. We see her picking up Izaiah from the airport, and she asks, "Is Franklin, should I go into the airport?" And he was like, "No, hell to the no, mom, because there's too much controversy around you." And the mother's like, "Okay, I'm not going to go in." One thing that I found out and that I really realized about Rachel Dolezal, and this is just my opinion and my opinion alone, is that she's a very, very selfish individual, and that she is only trying to, she did this documentary to me basically to get, her story out, and did not think about the ramifications and how this would affect her children. And that is what gives me pause about listening or really wanting to listen to anything, because as a mom, I know that we put our children first. But anyway, I digress. So they get in the car, and Izaiah is talking about not being able to go to Howard University. And as we know, Rachel Dolezal sued Howard University for discrimination against her as a white woman, but yet and still she identifies herself as a black woman. So I don't know how you can sue a university, for discriminatory practices against you because you're a white woman. They then turn around and say you trans black. Like, one thing about this black skin is I can't peel it off. I can't change it. I can't rotate it. I can't turn my skin inside out and be something different. And that's the problem that I have with, this transracial thing that she is saying. And I'm not saying that you can't be what you want to be or whatever, but I just got a problem with it. Like, I truly I got a problem with her flippity floppity and going back and forth. But anyway, I digress. We see Rachel when she goes to the barbershop with the boys. She's sitting outside the barbershop, and basically the proprietor doesn't even want her in front of the business. And she says that this is why we don't go out. We see her come back home later on. We see the boys get in the car, and we can just imagine the frustration that they're going through. And she gets home and she reveals that she is pregnant, and she reveals the gender of the baby and that the baby is a boy. And so, it's like, oh my goodness, goddamn, she's having a boy, he come another, confused. Okay. Um, Rachel says that, people are saying to her is, all you have to do is say that you're a white woman and you'll be okay. It appears that she did a whole lot of things for racial injustice in Spokane, and that she was, really effective in what she was doing. Why she had to hide behind a mask and being an African American woman, I don't know. She says that she identifies with it because her brothers and sisters, when they came into the home, that the parents, didn't really educate them about their culture. And so she, got permission from her parents to go and get books and stuff like that in order to help them identify with their culture. And as a result of that, she, became familiarized with the African American. This is so confusing because she read these books. She felt like she had the license, or at least a patent on how to be black and how to pose as a black person and a black person's plight. And I'm just like, oh, okay, so if I go and get a book and and I read enough books about Hispanics, does that mean that that I now have the patent, or I've discovered the secret to how to be a Hispanic living in black skin or brown skin? I don't get it, and I really want to make the connection because I feel sorry for the woman. I really do, because the African American community really did come down on her hard, whether it was right or whether it was wrong. Everybody has their own database and their own way of processing information and dealing with information. And so they really did come down on her hard, and I felt sorry for her. But every time she justified it, I believe that the justification became weaker and weaker. And I thought that they were excuses for deceiving people and lying. And my whole thing is, why do you have to lie? You ain't got to lie, Craig. All you have to do is tell the truth about who and what you are. She says in 1998 that people identify her as a biracial woman. And then in 2006, she firmly and fully identified herself as an African American woman. And so you kind of let society and things that people said dictate who and what you were, Rachel Dolezal. And I just can't get with it, God damn it. I mean, and I'm trying to. And I tried to hear your story all the way out. But sister girl, I can't, help me understand it. I'm hoping that you call in. There's another man that I met, that I heard on another channel, who was having some problems. And, I asked him to call in tonight. So I'm hoping that he calls in. The call in number when I open up the lines is going to be 240-624-4520. Please don't call right now, but when the lines open up, that is the number. So, Josie, if you could write that down somewhere, that number is 240-624-4520. So we see the sister Esther, she drops by. And, basically, Rachel Dolezal says that, her sister got her back. She says that, during the process, she lost a lot of friends, but she didn't lose not one black hair client. Now, see, that lets me know right then and there that you cannot possibly really relate to being an African American woman. Because one thing about it is, when you are African American woman, you know that if you got somebody that's hooking your hair up, you're not going to lose that client. I don't care, what you do. You understand what I'm saying? So, Rachel, why you feel like you identify with the African American struggle, you don't. Because as a little girl, we have to get, I'll repeat it, Josie. As a little girl, we have to, growing up as little girls with that 4C hair or that 3C hair or that 2 hair or that 2B hair, and those knots that our parents, would press through and comb through and all of that kind of stuff. You don't know anything about that struggle, Rachel. So when you sit there and say that you haven't lost any clients, it's because you don't know what it is to be an African American woman growing up with the products, the hair care products, or the lack thereof that we had when we were little girls. And so that's why a lot of people, Rachel, have a problem with you, because you don't know anything about that struggle. You don't know anything about that struggle when your mommy is pulling your hair and your roots is kinked up because you got a 4B or a 4C or a 4A hair, and your mother is just combing through it without holding the scalp down, and you're not tender-headed. You just don't feel like having your head yanked out like somebody yanking grass straight up out the ground. And when you go to put your hand up there and say, I out, and then next thing you know, the hand is getting pat with a comb. You don't know nothing about their life. And so when people say that you can't identify with the black struggle, it's those kinds of things that we grew up with. When we're 12 years old and 13 years old, and we're menstruating early, and we have boobs early and big old butts that we don't understand, that nobody can tell us about. And we go to school with you all, and you're flat. Some of you, you're flat, and you have those little teeny bit of breasts and stuff like that. We have to identify with, okay, so what is this big old thing that is growing out the back of me? What are these curves that I am getting? And my auntie got them, and my auntie's auntie got them, and my grandmother got them, and my grandmother got those big old bras with the straps that's about a mile damn long. You understand what I'm saying? Because genetically we are built a different way than you are. See, Rachel, you don't understand about that struggle, sister. And so that's why some sisters have a problem with it, because you can't identify with that. You can't identify with the big lips that we have. And when young boys are young, they don't know any little pointy nose like that. And we have to grow up as young African American women dealing with all the other things that we have to deal with, and still have to deal with accepting and understanding our beauty, our queenhood, that we are princess, that we are royal. See, you don't know anything about that struggle because, see, when you grew up, you had that pointy nose. You didn't have to deal with the big lips. You didn't have to deal with the naughty hair. You didn't have to deal with the good head girls in the school and the bad head girls. You didn't have to deal with the light bag and the dark bag. And if your girlfriend or your mama or your daddy was as dark as a paper bag, then they were unacceptable and couldn't work in certain stores. See, you don't know anything about that struggle. And so that's why African American people, and particularly women, have a problem with accepting what you're saying. That's why. That's why, Rachel. That's why. You don't know what it is to grow up as an African American girl. You just stepped into it as a grown woman. You didn't go through what we went through, and some of the stuff that we still go through. So we struggle because we don't know your story. One of the sisters said she would have a story, but I was like, put it in chronological order so I could understand, how did you deal with having that breast and that butt? Because, see, you still don't have it. You're still flat in the back. You didn't have to deal with all of that. You didn't have to deal with it. I remember my mother years ago. My mother was extremely fair-skinned. And she had one sister who's brown skin, dark skin, chocolate. And my mama could get a job at the department store. But her sister couldn't, because her sister could not pass the brown paper bag test. See, her sister, when you put the brown paper bag up, my mother's sister was darker than that. And so that meant that you couldn't pass to work in Garfinkel's and different stores like that have now gone out of business. The only thing that Mom could do was work at People's Drugstore in the back of the store doing the stock, because she didn't pass the brown paper bag test. Because for all of you all who don't know, I see the questions coming up. If your skin was darker than that, if your skin was darker than a brown paper bag, you couldn't work certain places, you couldn't eat certain places, and you weren't good enough. But if you were lighter than that, like my mother, you had job opportunities that your other family members, your own brothers and sisters, didn't have. You came from the same mama, same daddy, but you couldn't pass that brown paper bag test. And Rachel Dolezal never, ever had to face that. Neither did her mama, neither did her mother's mother. Neither did her mother's mother's mother. But you want us to accept you as an African American woman with a story. Rachel, I'm finding it hard. I swear I'm trying to, but I'm finding it real hard, boo. Because I know the struggles that I went through. I know, when my hair, wanting to have straight hair and not accepting my hair the way that it was. And my daddy, being a daddy who loved his girls, taking us to go and get them perms in our hair, and how that perm would burn the hell out of us. And by the time we could wear the hair out in a nice little style, it was almost time for another perm, because the perm that we got in would burn us and have scabs on our head. We couldn't even sometimes comb the hair because of the scabs. And then if we didn't go back and get the touch-ups the way that we needed to get the touch-up as young girls, it would break off at the very root. We didn't even know how to take care of our hair, how we didn't embrace who we were. We couldn't embrace our hair, and now I'm a natural woman, and I love being a natural woman. I love it. Now, sister, love a good hat, though. I love a good wig. But I'm telling you, when you don't have that story, when you ain't been through it, how can you say you black? How can you say you're African American? Where's your story, Rachel? Now, after you decided that you wanted to be black, and you was black, and you was transracial, then maybe you did go through that. But guess what, Rachel? It's a little bit too late. You's a dime, a dollar short, boo. Because see, we lived that. And we still live in a society where we're not free being African American women, where we are judged on the outside of us, where we are women who don't speak well, we don't articulate well, we're not educated. And if we're educated, it's because we got, our education based on scholarships, because we were black, and people felt sorry for us. Because of affirmative action and those things, Rachel Dolezal, we got to have those opportunities. It wasn't because we were academically above our class and above top 10 in the nation. It didn't make any difference that our SAT scores were through the roof. It didn't make any difference, because see, that was just a fluke. It was just a fluke. When our African American children go to college, it's a fluke. It's affirmative action. It's not because they're intelligent. Those are the things that we have to deal with, the things that our children have to deal with, Rachel Dolezal. And so that's why we have a problem. When my child goes into a testing center, and she's in there with children of every nationality, and she comes out the top score, that was a fluke. You don't know nothing about that life. And I don't care how many black people you have lived around, Rachel Dolezal, you don't know anything about that life. Because when you go out, you get the opportunity to still be Rachel Dolezal. Now, your parents said that you got a scholarship because you sent all of your stuff to the school, and you had all your art, and all your art was black, and all that kind of stuff. And when you showed up, you was white, and they were shocked. So the very same thing that people say that we use to get an education, you use to get an education. But it's okay for you to get that, right? Because you got the scholarship because what? I ain't even going to call. And then what about the children who are educated and they speak the king's language perfectly? I don't. My daughter does. And then she's called white, or you're trying to be white, or you're trying to talk white. When I have heard other people, you know what? I digress. I'm telling you, I have to digress, because I would get off on this monkey shine. Do y'all hear me? I need to digress and back up and go back to the story. So we see her son, Franklin. And Franklin says that all his mom did was say that she was black, and people lost their minds. You damn right, Franklin. Because your mother wasn't black. And the thing about it is, we don't mind. We understand that during the civil rights movement and before, and even to the Underground Railroad and the freedom of slavery, that there were white people and brown people who were struggling through this thing together, who fought together. We understand We understand that. We know that. We're not ignorant to that fact. So, we don't have a problem. We love you. We embrace you. But what we're not going to embrace is the lie. It's not that we don't love anybody, and I don't want anybody to think that I do not love people of other cultures and of other races and other creeds and other religions, because I do. And I'm not going to sit out here and justify myself on it. Because you know what I'd like? Judge me based on what I am saying out here. I want you to understand that I am not prejudiced. I don't have any racial biases. I am talking to Rachel Dolezal and talking about the documentary. And I have a right to do that on my channel. And it is okay for you to disagree with me, but disagree respectfully. Seriously, straight up and down. Or you will see me act like a monkey fool about here on my channel. But anyway, I got a lag. Number to call in on is 240-624-4520. The lag, y'all. I'm serious. I really can't, because if I do anything about it, let's. Oh, okay. YouTube is trying to fix it. It's buffering right now. It's saying reconnect. Okay, y'all. I'm trying to let it reconnect. Okay, so y'all said y'all see me fine now. So the phone number to call is 240-624-4520. Yes, YouTube has gotten terrible lately. I don't know what the hell is going on. At first, I thought it was because we were having storms, and I don't believe that that's what it is. We saw Franklin, again, like I said, he said that people, his mom said that she was black, and people, went all off. And he says that they judged her based on what the lie that she told. And come on, YouTube. Come on, YouTube. Work with me, YouTube. I'm trying to work with this, y'all. I know it's frozen. I'm just trying to work with it. It's trying to reconnect. It's trying with everything it got inside of it to reconnect.